just one more minute, and then
no problem.
Okay, I think we can make a start. Now, hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maher Jasri. I'd like to welcome you all here today. In this session, there are 3 topics. Topic 1, learning management system in the COVID-19 era, speaking English classes at Sakarya Applied Applied Sciences University Tourism Faculty. And this is going to be presented by Saad Al-Yamam. Topic 2, online teaching before and during COVID-19, the case of Italian in Morocco. And this is going to be presented, I presume, by, there are 2 speakers, Malika Al-Dakhsh and Jihad Fawzi Karami. Topic 3, the effects of asynchronous online book reports on speaking anxiety. And this is going to be presented by Sefjan Bayraktar Chevni. And hello. And there's another name, but I don't know if Gokam Chepni is available. Anyway, now regarding topic 1, it's going to be presented by Dr. Saad Al-Yamam Wafai Ba'aj. Now, Dr. Saad has a PhD in translation studies. He is a senior doctor at the Department of Foreign Languages, Sakarya Applied Sciences University. He was a former assistant professor at the ELT department of Sakarya University from 2015 till 2019. He is also a translation consultant at the UNICEF New York headquarters. Hojam, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Okay, and I'm so happy to be with you, all of you, of course, and this is a great opportunity to represent, like, let us say, the summary of a kind of an experiment that we have done during the COVID situation.
Just one thing, Hojam, there are 20 minutes for each presenter. Just
okay, I will end 4:52.
No, it's okay, now the floor is yours.
Okay, so let me directly start with the PowerPoint, and it is not full of words. I will show you directly the things that we have done and then the results. So let me share with you what I have. Okay. Now, the thing is that we have, in fact, discussed, me and my colleague, by the beginning of the COVID situation. In fact, it was the 4th of December, 2019. I think things got very, very interesting, and they started all in China. So in fact, the first studies that came about how to teach English in the COVID era, they started in Hong Kong and China, and there were like a couple of interesting studies, and they both focused how to take students from the normal type of education to the one that we have here, or which is the online one. Now, of course, the idea of online education is not something that's new. In fact, things started this is quite amazing. Things started in 1993. The first studies came about how to teach online. But starting 2009, we have a kind of an encyclopedia of distant learning. And that encyclopedia, it discussed how we can do online teaching or distant learning using the current methods that we have in our hands. And of course, at that time, the internet started to be something useful and easy to have for everyone. Now, so these are the early studies. Let us say this is the literature review. So 1993 and then 2009, these are the main major, let us say, stations in the literature of online teaching and distant learning. Then we come to the pandemic. And with the pandemic, things got really interesting because we have many LMS or those strategies or that, let us say, platforms that use online meetings, not education at that time, and to let people meet, do business like Skype and these things. Then we moved to education and Zoom came in. Now, with our case at Sakarya University, Applied Sciences, of course, like everyone, we were surprised by the situation. And in fact, we didn't have anything to add at the beginning because the students were already in and we are in the second semester. We are now in March 2020. And so teachers decided to record and then present what they have as videos. Now, as the following academic year unfolded, things changed. So we started before that having Zoom meetings and we organized a kind of a speaking club. And unfortunately, not all teachers were inside the learning management systems. So they had some difficulties. And this is in fact called what China called, and this is what this study in fact done by, let me find it directly for you. It was Blanket, and his study was how to take education, and this is to 2020, of course, how to take education to online. And the case of China and Hong Kong were presented. So they called it emergency remote teaching, emergent, something suddenly happened. Now, like, of course, everyone supported the idea and they thought it was like excellent and working because we are still at the beginning. And in fact, we face a different issue. First, the number of students that we have at the university were really high. So it is very difficult to make them join one suitable platform. And in this case, we use something called UZAM in our university. And in fact, it was very limited source to have or to host many students at the same time. Still, our target is speaking. So what did we do? In fact, as you can see here, to speak or not to speak. And we thought, what should we do? Like, it's impossible. How can you organize speaking sessions and the students are not attending? And so we followed what is called minimal response strategy. And in fact, this is a study done by an Indonesian professor. Her name is Mariam Bashir, and it is 2011, which is quite interesting. She thought that if you have a very big number of students and you are limited in the, let us say, in the elements and the things that you can offer, so find a way to stimulate a response from the students. So at least you will create an environment. And we decided first to correct our students on the level of the individual. We ask every student to present a video on whatever he would like. And we started rectifying, correcting, and then upgrading their language. So everything is done in the form of a video presented by the student. Of course, there were many terms to do this. For example, we asked them to stay at least 2 meters away from the camera so that we guarantee that they are not cheating or they are not, let us say, reading on the screen. Then this is the individual level. Then we moved to the following level, of course, and let me go just a minute, pardon. And yes. So we decided to divide them into groups. Dividing them into groups also was very interesting because it is not easy thing to ask them to divide into groups, and they are not that much knowing each other. So no social platform. So we followed this program, Yondo, and this program helps the student to be into groups. And as you see, for example, I managed to create 17 groups, and the students, when they are in green, then they are in one group, and then the system will automatically stop. So just 5 students there. Then we move to another technological thing, how to choose your topics. And we found this one, Frisida, and this is a program where you can choose a topic, and then your friends or the members of that, let us here, this is final exam, 3rd year, spring 2021. The students would see what the topics that discussed by their friends, and so there will be no repetition. And how to do it? What is the way? Like, fine, we have the videos, where should we go with them? The thing is that we went for Google form, and we created a form for every let us say, classroom, and they should register their email, name, surname, student number, and then upload the video to their YouTube channel or to any platform that we can use. The thing is now, then here comes the results. Or not the results, let us say, here comes the results of the videos that we have. So first we worked on the individual level, then on the group level. They are now groups, and now they are discussing what they have achieved. And by the way, the videos are not common topics. They are now specialized in tourism, which is their department, and they discussed these topics in a professional way. So there was editing, subtitling, and some of them moved outside their homes or houses whenever it's possible to check and see what is there, if it is applicable, because we had students from different countries like Russia and Indonesia, Malaysia, Tajikistan, with different time zones. It was also a problem that the thing is that we are not all in the same geographical area. So the thread of the questions where you will see them, they are just trying to see if they managed to do, or did they get anything out of this experiment of doing videos and presenting them to us. The responses were quite interesting. In fact, the students were happy and they think that they improved. We had 73 participants at the end, and 46 of them, they gave responses, written responses. And we asked them, this is you see here, you can see the age, let us say, most of them were between 19 and 22, which is the normal age group for any university student. And then for the number of males and females, of course, already females are more at our department, so it is quite normal to see that they have participated more in the study. And of course, the number of the students was really interesting. I didn't think that we will reach 73 students participating willingly. And then I asked them, what did you use during the COVID era? What are the things that helped you to interact with your teachers, including mine and the others? And laptop and mobile phones were number one. Tablets and desktops were almost like, tablets are nothing. Smart TV, which is quite interesting, 0%. No one used it. Unlike if you are in Turkey, you would know that many kids, especially in the primary, secondary, and high school, they would go for TVs to watch their lectures or whatever if they are recorded. Now we come to the following one, and we ask the following questions. Was it interesting for them? And did they really enjoy what they had? So especially we depended heavily on YouTubes and listening, following this approach that like we lost the speaking, and which is an interactive skill. so we can move to another interactive skill, which is listening. And they are both productive skills. So we used listening and YouTube's heavily with them. And of course, there were many questions about what they like, what they watch, questions responding to what they have seen. Then we asked them about their assignments. Were they happy? Now, this is illiterate, so we start from lists like I don't agree, or I strongly disagree to strongly agree. So handing assignments online, was it easy? Especially we are speaking about that I don't see them. And they handed the assignments through Google Forms, and it seems that they were fine. It was not a problem for them. And the activities and the things that we have given them, were they motivating? Again, unfortunately, with the first group, this is related to attendance, and I will speak about this. Attendance was not obligatory. So if you don't attend, you don't know what has happened. And in fact, this is the suffering group, I can say. So they will graduate, but they didn't improve. I believe so. And this is one of the things that I will criticize at the end of what you have here. Then we move directly to online learning. Has it improved my listening skills? The same, it's fine, strongly, like it is. The majority said yes. The same for speaking. The majority said yes. And I worked hard on my video because the speaking, by the way, we asked them to do about 10 videos. So every week, at least, there will be one video to present, and as group work. So, which was really difficult. So there were discussions between them, there were arguments, and sometimes they are shouting at each other, presenting YouTube's images. So these were the rules. We wouldn't accept anything if they don't apply YouTube's and images during their presentations. Now, I find it difficult with online teaching. Again, we have 15%. They said, yes, it was difficult for us, but the majority, they agreed and it was fine for them. Now, internet disconnection, it was the main problem that our students suffered from. You see, the total number is above 50%. They thought that internet disconnection is a very problematic issue with online education. And let me go for the following one. If I don't attend class online, I would watch it later. They said yes, but unfortunately, actual data that I have from the reports that university handed to me, it doesn't show this. My English now is better. Most of them agreed, and yes, I can agree with them because their marks were moving gradually up, 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 up. However, only with those who are attending and then doing their assignments. So it is not with everyone. And I'm speaking about 60% attending only, or attending the assignments. I will try to learn more about the topics given to me, mostly yes. Again, I will research using English language as a medium of research and search. Most of them said yes, and in fact, yes, they did. Now, how did I guarantee this? I used to speak English with them all the time, even on WhatsApp. So I didn't use Turkish or Arabic or any language with them. So it is only English, 100% English language. Emails, WhatsApp, discussions, fully English. So to guarantee that they at least try to think in English. I like working as a group because, as I said, it was a group work, and most of them were happy, and I was, of course, happy with this. Now, results. Students' development. Now, yes, they developed, but not as you would expect things to be in a normal situation. However, this is what I think, and I call it in my article, the after or the neo era after COVID, like the post-COVID era. We will compare what is the difference. We will make the same study and then ask the students, what do you think? Is it good? Was it better? Or is it now better? Hindrances, devices, internet, time zones, these were the things that students faced. As for teachers, it was the system altogether. Some of them are not that much with technology. Videos to continue with reality now. before that, I used to ask my students to go in the streets and make their videos and their speaking. But now, no. However, I will come back to this. Limitations. There is no live language communication in any speaking environment, in any speaking skill teaching. There should be a live language communication. We lost this completely. So I cannot say that my students were able to do it. And what is interesting, I found a new thing, a new type of anxiety, which is online anxiety. Students were afraid to speak or to go online with me, though they were writing in a very good English. And when they sent their videos, they were excellent. So a new type of anxiety that has never been spoken about before. I found it, and I think it is because of being socially, what we call it, distant from the other people. Like we are focusing just on ourselves, and we are living virtually, but we are afraid to be face to face more. So the post-COVID era, we will see what will happen. The new education, the neo education system, I think things will not continue as they used to be. And previous studies before the COVID, they were all hoping that things will be very good and interesting with teaching online or virtual, distant studying. I think that the COVID proved that things are not that much, unfortunately, and we cannot go online completely. Still, certain things should be face-to-face. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed, Hojam. That was really interesting, and I leave the floor for questions if there are any questions from the attendants.
Probably after they finish their presentation, so that they would have also their own time.
It's also a good idea. In this case, yes, we can move to the second topic, but if you stop sharing the screen, please.
Yeah, of course. Tick, finished.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much again.
Awesome.
Now topic 2, online teaching before and during COVID-19, the case of Italian in Morocco. There are two presenters, Dr. Malika Dakhsh and Jihad Fawzi Karami. Now, let me introduce Dr. Malika Dakhsh. She is currently a senior professor at ENCS. Actually, I'm using these initials because I cannot pronounce these words in French. So forgive me for this. So a senior professor at ENS Mohammed V University in Rabat. She has an advanced training in linguistics and holds a doctorate in Italian language and culture. Her fields of interests include applied linguistics, teaching foreign languages, sociolinguistics, language policy in particular, and the integration of technology in teaching and learning. Dr. Malika Dakhsh participated in training Italian high school teachers in Morocco. She also organized conferences and study days at ENS. She has published various papers and book chapters in Morocco and abroad. Now, the co-presenter, Jihad Fawzi Karami, is a doctoral student at Mohammed V University in Rabat. Her field of research is sociolinguistics. She is conducting a research in how foreign languages are diffused within the Moroccan educational system, with a particular attention to the situation of Italian in comparison with the other foreign languages it coexists with. She has a master's degree specialized in didactics of Latin languages and cultures, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. Since 2010 until now, she is teaching Italian as a second language at Moulay Abdullah High School in Rabat. Her areas of interest include educational language policy, foreign language teaching, social representations, and the integration of technology in teaching and learning. She has published articles in Morocco and in Italy. Okay, Dr. Malika Dakhsh, I presume you are going to be the presenter. The floor is yours. You have 20 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Jaisri. Yes, indeed, I will be the presenter because Jihad will be speaking in Arabic, maybe to answer questions. Her Arabic is far much better than her English, so we decided together, even if we had done the research together, we have decided that I would be the presenter. Okay. Okay, I am really, really pleased to be with you, and I will share our small experience, me and Jihad. I will just try. I don't work a lot with Zoom. Here in Morocco, we work with Meet, Google Meet. So I will just try to be intuitive about it and follow up. I think I'll try to share my screen. Did I manage to?
Yes. Yeah, so that was a piece of cake.
That's good. Good. So I will be talking about COVID online teaching before and during COVID-19. The case of Italian in Morocco. Why Italian? Because I and Jihad teach Italian, and we take Italian at heart, actually, because it's one of the minority foreign languages in Morocco, and it is a little bit like regarded as a very, very useless language. So the whole situation about training its teachers and teaching it around is quite particular, and we have decided to check if actually regardless of its being minor, it had the teachers of this language actually managed to survive COVID period, and if they had any skills before actually to face this situation. What we really our intention was to examine the level of digital literacy among these professors, these teachers, their satisfaction, involvement, and whatever they use to teach language at all levels, actually, be it university, public and high and middle high schools. We also wanted to compare the digital tools and to examine what are these digital tools if they are using them. There's a difference between the levels, and examine to what extent actually they manage to take them to a further level, that is not just to use them as a substituting a traditional classroom, but to go actually to use them for creative tools like Pointedora actually in 2006 has proposed for anyone who uses digital devices within education to be aware of. So these are the main objectives actually we have put me and Jihad. When we to do that, our population is quite particular. We have Italian teachers. We don't have a huge number in Morocco. The number is actually 104 teachers, including all levels, high school and university and middle school. We have used a questionnaire online. We have sent a questionnaire composed of 88 questions, composed of multiple choice questions and closed questions, and we kept 10 questions on Likert scale to see to check actually their feelings and their feelings about online teaching and how do they perceive it. Why was that important? Actually, I am just skipping that part. Maybe if we share our slides later on, you can have a look at them, or maybe if you're interested, you can ask me in the discussion, because I'm afraid I have a couple of slides. I have many slides, so I don't want to take on time. Anyways, I will go right to what we have chosen, actually, what we have chosen to use to analyze our to prepare our questionnaire and to analyze the questionnaire. We try to adopt two models actually to analyze the situation of our teachers, and that's the TAM, which is the Technology Acceptance Model advanced by Davis in 1998, and it is based on two points. That is, a person, an individual, is more adamant, more open to use online teaching or any information technologies if they perceive its usefulness and if they perceive its use. These are the two actually factors that pushes people to use them. If they don't have these two perceptions, it's very difficult to make them or to encourage them to use these devices or to use the online teaching method, and that's really important. So we wanted to check if this perception of usefulness and ease of use existed within our teachers. I keep thinking about students because many of them I have trained them at ENS. Anyways, and then the second model actually is the summer model. The summer model is that of Pointedora, and it is used to analyze how all technological devices, online tools, and online teachings are used within education. And he has mentioned 4 levels actually, which he has summarized in the acronym SUMMER. They go from enhancement, that is substitution and augmentation. You just substitute them to the classroom, to a higher level. So we really wanted to check if this, if our colleagues in Morocco actually managed to move within this, at what level they found themselves in the summer model. So to do that, we have administered our questionnaire. We have administered our questionnaire, and we got the following answers. I will present the most important results quickly. I really have just put some of them, not all of them, but I just to give an idea. We have summarized the results in eight sections. Here, the first one, you see the general data that we have here. It's about the age and the years of teaching, and you see many of them actually have an experience that goes from 11 to 20 years, and they are quite young actually. We had the people the teachers who are a little older at the university, unfortunately didn't actually fill in all the though they are just 11 teachers, still they didn't fill in all the questionnaires. We have just 6 who have responded to our questionnaire. Okay, now we also wanted to check on the use on teaching online before pandemic and after pandemic, and actually we have discovered that almost many of them, this almost a high percentage, that actually had no experience whatsoever on online learning, while they found themselves, just as the professor said within one night and day they had to teach during lockdown, and they were not absolutely ready for this modality of teaching, as you can see here. It is said, and they said that they were not very satisfied. They didn't have a big satisfaction about how actually it went, the experience. They said actually that really it was not rewarding as while teaching face to face. We also asked them if they had any support from their institutions actually, or from the government, from the ministry, and the answers we got from them also showed that they were not accompanied, that the institutional support that they have expected actually wasn't at their expectations, and they were so both the schools and the university, they think, was not really actually, as you see here, were not engaged in providing them with the needed material and with the needed internet, or with connection, or even with the needed training actually to follow on with the pandemic period. So many of them actually never had a training, and even when they needed it during pandemic, they were not really accompanied in the right way. So the same thing here actually, that's the slide I was talking about. So there is a complete unhappiness with the means that are proposed by the institution. But actually, if I want to comment this, I should say that the Ministry of Education has allocated Teams platform for all the teachers, at least at high school and middle school. But there was some kind of resistance, and people would rather say it's true that they didn't have a training, but the institution, the platform was there for them, and there were some YouTube tutorials that actually one would attend to if they would feel, if they are, I mean, if they're willing to learn. But they wanted the teachers said that they wanted actually to be accompanied maybe directly, not by video tutorials, in order to check if actually they are open and they are perceiving the usefulness and ease of use of these tools and online teaching methods. We try to check on their attitudes, and we have discovered that actually, because we administered the questionnaire just lately, and at that period they were already having face-to-face. They have come back to face-to-face teaching, and they were making comparisons and saying that actually online teaching is beneficial only during pandemic, because actually it is good. It can help us palliate the fact that we don't go to schools, but it is useful in that sense. But beneficial or not beneficial, they were really 50-50 to decide whether they are it is beneficial or not. Okay, going on, they believe that actually face-to-face education during pandemic period is not replaced, cannot be replaced by online teaching. That's what was said in the previous presentation actually, and that's true anyways. But still, it can play a good role when we need, I mean, for palliating the absence of meeting directly. Our teachers also believe at a high percentage that teachers definitely cannot limit themselves face-to-face teaching, that the need for some devices, technological devices, would be good, but online teaching during lockdown still remains a very difficult task to carry on. Going on, always with the attitudes, actually, in relation to the use of digital technology and inserting, using the devices for teaching, they said that it is important actually to use them, and to a majority, as you see, 55 to almost 90% agree that it is important to use them, even actually if there is a particular difficulty in using them. When it comes to the way actually the quality that we get from online courses, most of them decided and agreed that the quality of teaching online lessons during pandemic period is actually very, very low compared to face-to-face teaching, because it causes a demotivation of the students. We'll see that later on, and so the impact is really not good. They think that their students were not comfortable about teaching, and they think their students definitely can learn better, cannot learn better if they are just on online teaching. They think that face-to-face has definitely to be kept and then maybe enriched with face-to-face modality. They also said that they never use online platforms actually to do exams because they don't think actually that you can have a credible exam on the platforms, and actually it cannot be objective, it cannot be credible, and moreover it's cannot replace the face-to-face assessment, and it gives a huge opportunity or occasions for cheating for students. So they really are reluctant to this use. This shows actually it shows that in relation to if related to what Davis says, that we are really clearly that all the respondents perceive that online teaching is partially useful, only partially useful, and definitely it is not easy to use. So there is that difficulty. We already part from that point. If we don't have usefulness and only partial usefulness, and we have no ease at all, so we can anticipate with the other results that our teachers actually are really reluctant to use these devices. Okay, and indeed we can see that in their digital literacy. The digital literacy actually is we have evaluated, we have given them questions to self-evaluate the mastery of digital skills. We have discovered that 77% said that they have some basic knowledge, but they believe that anyways their students are superior to them, and that leaves them in a position that they are not very comfortable with using the digital tools, and that they need to work more on them.
Dr. Malika, 2 minutes.
Okay, so I will go right to, if I have 2 minutes, I will go right to the drawbacks. Okay. The drawbacks, actually, many drawbacks, some of which were already mentioned by I will just say 2 things, okay, maybe, and I'll go right to the finals. The results in this section about digital literacy and about beliefs actually shows that even at the summer, actually, at the Pandora summer, if we apply it here again, we're really at the beginning of the level. We're really at the substitution and augmentation level, but because what they use is really basic. They don't use videos, they don't insert, they don't use Google Docs, they don't share on, they don't correct on online. So their really use is very limited. So among the drawbacks, I just share them at the end with the conclusions and the general considerations. We have, when we have gone through all the questions we have found that we have mitigated impressions and opinions about online teaching. There is not an agreement actually. Italian teachers have mitigated impressions and opinions. They perceive its significance during pandemic period and its importance, but face-to-face is very important and it has to be kept. The second point is the involvement was total in online teaching during COVID-19. The satisfaction reported is very low, and the teachers report to have less efficient classes in online teaching. The problems of devices used and the internet connection problems might be a reason behind this, because they were reported at high rates. A variety of devices are used by teachers from all levels, with the preference of social network. Actually, WhatsApp was much used by teachers of high school. And then we have seen that when we apply the ATM to analyze this data, actually we can see that the perceptions of usefulness and ease of use show that there is a difficulty of using the difficulty of use gains against the usefulness perception.
Okay, Dr. Malika, I finish.
I just, if you give me just 2 seconds,
Okay.
That 2 seconds for the recommendations. We need teacher training to online teaching. We need to equip the institution with Wi-Fi and infrastructures. We need to provide learners with working tools. We need to take charge of the internet connection and of the platforms for using online device. Mohammed V University already tried to do this, and we need to sensitize and train learners too to the use of the platforms. And thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Malika Dakhsh. And I'm quite sure there will be some questions from our colleagues here, but in the discussion time. Now, it's time for topic 3, and it's the effects of asynchronous online book reports on speaking anxiety. And this is going to be presented by Sevjan Bayraktar Chepni and Gökhan Chepni. Now, if you allow me to introduce Dr. Sevjan Bayraktar Chepni, she completed her BA in English Language and Literature and MA in Applied Linguistics at Karadeniz Technical University in Turkey, and completed her PhD in ELT at Hacettepe University, Turkey. Sorry if I mispronounced the names of the universities. However, Dr. Chepni has extensive experience in teaching English and has participated in national and international symposiums relating to English language education. She is currently working in Trabzon University as an English instructor. Some of her research interests include vocabulary learning, corpus linguistics, and computer-assisted language learning. The other presenter is Gökhan Chepni. He is a PhD candidate. He completed his BA in English Language and Literature in Karadeniz Technical University and completed his MA in English Language Teaching at Çağ University in Turkey. And currently he is a PhD student at Çukurova University in Turkey. Mr. Chepni has extensive experience in teaching English and has participated in national and international symposiums related to English language education. He is currently working in Trabzon University as an English instructor in the Department of Foreign Language Education. Some of his research interests include facilitating productive knowledge in writing and speaking in a foreign language, vocabulary instruction, and computer-assisted language learning. The floor is yours, Hojam.
Thank you, Dr. Maher. Thank you for your brief introduction. And let me share my screen first. Let me share my old screen. I have lots of things here. Okay. So first of all, everybody, welcome to my presentation. I really liked 2 presentations before me. They were very comprehensive, and I learned a lot from their studies. Thanks a lot. Today, I'm going to mention a kind of research that I've done in my own class. It's the kind of research, classroom research or teacher research. I'm teaching in ELT prep class. I was teaching reading, and by the meantime, I'm always in favor of teaching skills in an integrated way. For example, if I'm teaching reading, I all the time try to add something more. I integrate writing and speaking and sometimes listening and all that vocabulary, for example, into my courses to make it more or less facilitating for learners to foster their language development. So this is one of my one way of my integration of speaking skill in my reading course. Effects of asynchronous online oral book reports on speaking anxiety. So as we all know, as language teachers, one of the most basic purposes of learning a foreign language is to improve verbal communication skills of learners to make them more competent users of language in target or a foreign language. But unfortunately, in most parts of the world, and specifically in Turkey, we have some difficulties in improving this ability of learners because there are some limited opportunities in our classrooms. For example, they don't have chance to use the language outside of the classroom, and they don't have some meaningful practice, even in some cases in classroom and outside of the classrooms. And also sometimes factors connected with speaking skill like personality, foreign language anxiety, low level of motivations or unwillingness to communicate, and negative attitudes towards foreign language learning negatively contribute to language learning process and development of communicative ability. That's why we all have some difficulties. Even, for example, we have limited class times and overcrowded classes in Turkey and insufficiently qualified teachers. Unfortunately, some teachers working in Ministry of Education are not well qualified in speaking, so that they don't focus on speaking abilities in classroom regarding some factors. They say I have more less classes. They don't want to spend extra time on speaking because they have to follow the curriculum in which there are lots of grammar-based language tests and other things. That's why they keep on disregarding speaking in their classes. And also, one of the most important things I think, especially in university, is the language anxiety, speaking anxiety among students, because students come to university without speaking English, and at the university level, when we ask them to speak English, they just get back and feel ashamed of speaking and producing some sentences in English. Sorry. There are some studies done in Turkey which focus on several causes of language anxiety. For example, one of these studies found that some factors such as linguistic difficulty in the form of lack of vocabulary, lack of grammatical understanding and bad pronunciation, or also some cognitive challenges in the form of feelings of fear of failing tests, fear of making mistakes, shame to fail in front of the others, or low self-esteem, or lack of understanding of the original language, or teachers' roles and competitiveness may affect language anxiety of the students. And also it was reported in World Study in 1998 that there are some factors making learners more anxious than usual. These are, for example, they don't comprehend the task or the pace and risk of being singled out in speaking activities, the limited time devoted to pedagogical and instructional practices in classes, or the risk of being humiliated through error correction done by the teacher, or the presence of native speakers in their classes. That's why this study aimed to shed more light into factors that can decrease the speaking anxiety in a foreign language classes. So the perceived effect of an asynchronous online Web 2 and Web 2.0 tool, in our case, in this case, in my classroom, I have used Flipgrid. And this study is a mixed method study which made use of both quantitative and qualitative data. The quantitative data was gathered from a public anxiety scale as a pre-test and post-test, and the qualitative data elicited from focus group interview to explore students' perceived effects of oral book reports on their speaking anxiety. To this end, the following research questions were examined. Does oral book reports through an online asynchronous mode have potential to decrease learners' speaking anxiety in a foreign language? What are learners' perceptions on the effect of oral book reports on their speaking anxiety? I had 24 participants in this study, and the interview questions were as follows. So, how were your initial feelings when you first heard that you were expected to report book orally? And how were your anxiety level in your first oral book report? Compare it with the last one. In terms of your speaking anxiety, what are the advantages and disadvantages of reporting your book orally? And do you want to add something more on the effect of oral book report you're speaking? I just want to focus their attention on speaking anxiety because oral book report has more advantages apart from decreasing speaking anxiety. So I have used Flipgrid, which is a relatively new audio-based learning tool developed in 2014 by Professor Charles Miller at the University of Minnesota. It's the video discussion platform that allows students to record themselves on video and watch and respond to classmates. Each class has its own account, which may be open or locked. So in my case, the classroom was locked. Only the students of our classes can enter the class. It was not public. It has many benefits, and there are current research done on the effects of Flipgrid video recording too. They say it's convenient and flexible for teachers to use for assessment. It supports self-assessment and reflection for students. It improves the digital literacy skills of the students, and it motivates students to speak. So I have given them a kind of Likert type public speaking anxiety scale developed by Kongresi et al. In 1986 through Google Forms, with 5 being strongly disagree as a pretest. And then all students were assigned to report a novel, a short story, or a graded reader orally by making a video recording once in 2 weeks, to be which were all graded by me. And in total, they have done 8 book reports. They were expected to appear on the video and report their books without reading from somewhere else. They were asked to share their recordings in the Flipgrid. They were also asked to watch others' videos. Teachers took some observation notes, and the participants received a public speaking anxiety scale through Google Forms. And at the very end of the study, we had focus group interviews. The data was analyzed, the quantitative data was analyzed with SPSS, and the qualitative data were subject to semantic content analysis. And as the number of participants were low and the normal distribution is the data is violated, I have used some non-parametric test called Wilcoxon signed rank test, and I compared the total scores of the pre-test, pre-test and post-test, and I've seen that in public anxiety scale there is a significant decrease after 8 book reports at the end of the term. And also I have done some item by item analysis in Wilcoxon and then I paired pre and post test results of each of the items, and only highlighted ones appear to be significant. But overall, when I see in other, although not significant, I've seen some improvement in their perceptions into these items. Let me briefly explain the items that were significantly different, statistically different from the others. For example, item 1, they say, I never felt quite sure of myself while I'm speaking in English. In pre-test, most of the students say agree or somewhat agree with this statement. But in the post-test, they come close to disagree or strongly disagree to this question. This result can be attributed to the nature of the oral book report, which requires learners to read, summarize, and report a discourse in front of a public. So to be able to report their books, they have to read it first and then summarize it on a piece of paper, and then they have to report it orally, which may facilitate their feeling of sorry, self-confidence. Sorry.
You can have some water. Please do. Yes.
I hear here.
Feel free, please. It's informal.
I try to make it as fast as possible.
But at the expense of the health now.
Yes. So, just a second, please.
Take your time.
Let me have some water. 2 weeks ago, I was COVID-19. I'm still trying to, let's say, overcome it. That's why I feel some sore throat.
How do you feel?
Thank you.
How do you feel now? Do you feel better?
I'm better. I'm better, but it was very bad.
Get me also.
Thank you. And item 3, in speaking classes, I can get so nervous. I forgot things I know. So this may have affected readiness of students. When they felt ready and when they reported something, they most probably they felt less nervous when reporting their books. And it embarrasses me to volunteer to go out first to speak in English. There were no such case in book reports because they have at the same time, they have all reported their books, and there were not people who were first and who were last. So they have reported their books. And in the item 13, certain parts of my body feel very tense and rigid while I'm speaking English. So they reported that in the initial experiences they felt this, but later on they get used to it. So this may be attributed to their experience with narrating something. And item 15, I dislike using my voice and body expressively while I'm speaking. This was very interesting. This result can be attributed to the observation of most of their classmates. And in their discussions, they said at first they thought that they are not good at speaking or narrating something, but in Flipgrid presentation, as it was open to all students, they found chance to see others who were narrating, and they've seen that they are not so different from each other. So they are all at the same level and they are trying to do something. So they felt a little bit less confident. Also, item 16, I have trouble to coordinate my movements while I'm speaking English. This result also can be attributed to both their experience and their observation of most of their classmates. And overall analysis have showed significant difference between pre and post-test scale. So in a research question 2, in research question 2, we have, very difficult. Okay, it was here. Themes have emerged from content analysis. They have talked a lot, but these were the main themes. Less anxious, they have felt less anxious over time. In the first and the last book report, their feelings were different. They said in the very first days, they had to shot more than 2 or 3 or 4 videos to be able to narrate their books orally. But in the last one, they have said only one or 2 videos, which show that their ability to report something get better and better. And they also said it was a regular practice. That's why we have found chance to improve ourselves. Also, one of the other interesting results was lexical development. As we all know, vocabulary is a very important component of language learning. So they said when we read from the books, and summarized it, we used certain expressions, collocations or multi-word dinners or certain specific vocabulary items while narrating this story, which helped us a lot. So as a researcher, I can say that they have moved learning from receptive knowledge to productive one. So they have there was a shift from their declarative knowledge to procedural one. As they have learned it and they narrated it, they produced it in a spoken way. And the other result, they said they were very happy because they have integrated their reading, speaking, and writing skills at the same time. And also they have listened to their friends, so they have some listening practice too. And other important result is pre-learning. They could have chance to see others' presentations. So they said their reports encouraged and motivated us. For example, they have some specific friends who they thought they are good at English. They used to watch their videos and try to be encouraged to be just like them. So I have shown some screenshots from book reports of some students. For example, Nursena is a student who is good at speaking, and she's fluent speaker. That's why she has more views than the others. So in most cases, they try to watch her and try to imitate her and try to be like her. And so when they see their other friends, this has a kind of motivational effect on them because they are in competition. They are trying to be better than the other. So they get more courage. Also, some teachers' notes, when they first were assigned with oral book reports, they felt uneasy and kept on asking whether they could do it only by recording their voice. They didn't want to share their screen. They didn't want to appear in the video because they felt ashamed of, I don't know why. There are many reasons behind it. But I said, no, this is a public speaking. If we were in face-to-face situation, you will just come into the class and narrate or report your books. I want to decrease your anxiety. That's why you will show up in the video and report your books orally, which will facilitate your speaking and ability and fluency in English. And they have accepted it. And so they all recorded themselves and they presented their reports orally. And also integration of Flipgrid into reading course have both kept the lesson away from being ordinary and facilitated student involvement into the reading class outside of the classroom time. So we have both had something to read at the classroom, and outside of the classroom, they were assigned to read something else and then reported. So they had chance to use English outside of the classroom too. Learners having chance to see each other's oral reporting performance found chance. So they made comparisons between their performances and that of the others, and class participation to comprehension and discussion questions have increased over time, which may be considered partly because of their increased self-confidence thanks to oral book reports in the Flipgrid. Also, conclusion for implication, depending on the data obtained from the public speaking anxiety scale and students' perception interview, regular oral book reports have been observed to have some positive effect on students' anxiety. Knowing that their friends have opportunity to watch them may have increased their anxiety in the beginning, but this anxiety faded later as they get more used to the idea of being watched while reporting. Depending on this finding, teachers can take advantage of Flipgrid by assigning their learners oral book reports. And learners reported that as they already know the content of their speech and they have already encountered with specific expressions to share its meaning, they could easily use expressions in the books while speaking, which shows a shift from declarative knowledge to procedural one. Also, as I said in the very beginning of my presentation, classroom time is limited. It's impossible for teachers to make their students speak, all of them at the same time. So this is a kind of outside of a classroom assignment, which teacher can make sure that all of their students do oral book reports and all of their students try to produce the language at their homes without having classroom time. An asynchronous online mode may be a good point for getting students to use that public speaking. Before, for example, giving them chance to speak in front of their friends, they may start doing these assignments online, and after that they may come to class and then keep on speaking, doing activities in speaking classes. And getting prepared for oral book reports can facilitate fluency development in speaking, which may also decrease speaking anxiety. So as we all know, fluency development, even in vocabulary courses or in speaking courses, is not done because of time limitations and all of the stuff. That's why their repeated oral book report trials may increase their fluency too at the same time. And integration of Web 2.0 tools in speaking lessons may help process lexical items deeper, which in turn results in better retention and more productive knowledge production of more productive. These are my references, and thank you for listening to me. I try to be as brief as possible.
We are exactly on time. Thank you very much for this interesting presentation. Thank you very much indeed for all the presenters. And now there is time for discussion, for questions, if you have questions.
I have one question for Dr. Sevcan. You spoke about the scales that you used for validating the research. So they were SPSS, and what are the other two ones that you used?
Only one, SPSS for qualitative analysis. It was non-parametric. That's why I used Wilcoxon signed rank test. And the other one is a kind of content analysis, because I had focus group interview and teachers' observation notes. That was it.
Okay, thank you so much.
I have a question, please. Actually, I have a question for Dr. Sevcan.
Sevcan.
Sorry,
Turkish is different.
Sorry for the pronunciation. I'm really thrilled to hear your experience. It's really interesting and inspiring, actually, for teaching spoken skills. I was wondering, how did you actually assess? How did you evaluate How do you give them at the end the assessment of their advancement in speaking?
Yes,
when you do the exam, I suppose that's a course you teach, and then you have to do the exam to assess. Did you do it? Did you assess the video? Did you have? Should they talk in front of you? How did you assess that?
No, they just got some grades from their book reports, but this was not the total grades that they would get from reading one. They also had a kind of different exams in reading. They had 8 book reports, 4 of them were graded, and for midterm, and 4 of other one will be graded for final exam. I tried to give them as high as possible by just looking at whether they are trying to read from somewhere, or they are just reporting their book really orally. Because some of the students in the very first initial stages, they try to have some paper from someone and they look at and they try to read it. So I tell them not to do that. So use some gap fillers, use some hesitations, just like speaking, just like telling someone to something. And I tried to assess their fluency, their grammatical, let's say, corrections, because they will be English teachers. So I said in normal cases it's not important, but in your case it's important. So try to be as produce correct sentences as possible, and try to use some expressions that you have read from your books to facilitate their vocabulary knowledge too. And I just checked 4 of them: grammar, fluency, and whether they are orally using some body language or just like speaking. And if they do it, they also get the grade. There were 38 students, but I just used for the 24 of their reports, because some of the students didn't want to report their book, as they said it was very difficult for them. They were ashamed of to speak in front of a public, to share their videos.
Yeah, that would actually be of anxiety in front of camera. We have it even with teachers. We have teachers who can't,
Yes.
who refuse to do the classes and to put them, because actually you have that, you don't know how it's gonna end. They will talk bad about you or something like that.
Yes, that's why in the initial stage they had more and more trials for shooting their videos 5 times, 6 times, maybe 7 times. They really felt, let's say, annoyed.
Yes, absolutely. I have another question, please, for you and for Professor Saad.
Saad.
Okay. You both of you used videos. You asked your students to prepare videos, if I understand well. Now I know that youth generally, that also is normal in Morocco. They use their phones mostly to make phones. Now I have noticed that you have used a particular platforms or applications, Sürecinde, if I remember, and Flipgrid in the other case. And my question is that, are these applications familiar to the students? Do they know how to use them intuitively, or did you have to prepare them for actually using them and putting stuff on them? I am asking that question because when teaching reading comprehension for my students, I used Google Classroom, and I assumed my students will find it easy to get in. And I didn't give any instructions at the beginning. I just said we will be used Google Classroom, and here is the code, and that's it. And I discovered actually that a good number of my students didn't know how to do it, didn't manage to. So my question is that, did you need to prepare your students?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
For my case, yes, I used to show them step by step what should they do, and at the beginning there were like just free experiments, in fact, and what we call the prova, so they can just test themselves. And in fact, at the end, it was so much developed, because at the end I asked them to do the video as a group and use subtitling at the same time and shoot from a distance using slides also. So at the beginning we moved step by step, but it took us about the preparation for first semester and the results the second semester. So totally 8 months to make them reach an acceptable level of of video production, video presentation, using slides, using Zoom, Tricider and Exiondo and these programs, and also YouTube at the same time. By the way, I asked them to upload their things to the YouTube. They opened their own YouTube channels. And also we ask them then later to upload the videos to Google Form. And of course, myself, I had many problems because, it is limited. So I used my account provided by the university, and I opened the limits. So yes, it took some time. And I can say at least 2 to 3 weeks just teaching them what to do.
Okay, excuse me, just one to precise some. I understand that you are teaching speaking English classes too.
Yes.
Now, do you have this worry that is very much present, especially in high schools and middle schools in Morocco, that you have a program that you have to abide by, and when you do a parallel act, because when you are showing them how to use videos, how to a whole semester, are you not, how am I to put it, eating on the program, on the objectives of the learning program, objectives of your program, of your teaching skills, or of your speaking skills, or something like this? I don't know if it's clear what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
we have a program, a curriculum.
I understand you, but this is not a high school or primary or secondary school. It's university. That's why we are flexible. As long as we reach our objectives, it's okay. In our case, it's okay.
Yeah. For example, for my university, like in the tourism faculty, I took permission from the management and from the dean that I'm free to do whatever to let the students reach their goal. So, for example, me and my colleague, we were the only 2 teachers who are following this method. So they opened something called online ODEV, or online homework, just for our case. So I did not do any traditional exam, 0. There at the beginning in the first semester, yes. Second semester, no. It was full freedom, and that at the same time, I also gave my students full freedom. Like they made some mistakes. For example, the first quiz that I did, I said I will not check your grammatical mistakes. Nothing. Do whatever you like. Just speak. Sometimes with certain cases, I said, okay, you can write in Turkish, but I will respond in English. Step by step, Turkish disappeared.
Amazing.
Yes, it took some time, but and in fact, my partner, like, he was surprised that step by step, even with the first graders, students forget, like they totally forgot about their mother tongue, and they moved with English. But I didn't check what they do. It was not my problem if they make grammatical mistakes or whatever during the WhatsApp or during our discussions. I only check what they have. For example, for the video, and I give, for example, grammar 5 marks or 10 marks out of 100. So whatever they do, they are still on the safe side. They don't feel the anxiety of losing marks because of their grammatical mistakes.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Something to learn from. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Wallah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Actually, Serjan Hojam, I have just a question for you, because you talked about integrating reading, writing in your teaching, but you didn't say anything about pronunciation. Do you consider incorporating pronunciation in any activity, like even in grammar, in writing, in reading, pronunciation?
While they are reporting their books orally, they are also paying attention to their pronunciation. So it's a natural outcome of their oral book reports. There is also pronunciation, there's also vocabulary, there's also grammar, and all of the things at the same time, actually.
Okay, all right.
The intonation, stress, and everything. I just tell them, keep on telling them, okay, pay more attention to your stress at the end of the sentences or intonation while asking questions or telling something. I kept on providing feedback to their book reports.
not only intonation, but sometimes it's about some vowel sounds, because I noticed that in Turkish,
we have problems.
There's only the vowel sound E. And in English, there are two vowel sounds, short E and long E. And for example, when I ask students what they plan to do or what they did at the weekend, they say, I was sleeping. And sleeping, you know,
yes, something
although they could say sleeping or sleep or whatever, so they use for that's just an example, sleep. So that's why I always draw students' attention to pronunciation.
Yes,
because I incorporate it in any course I teach.
Yes, we are trying to teach them phonetic alphabet and have some reading practice from phonetic alphabet too, so they see the difference between English and their perceived English.
Exactly. Okay, all right. Actually, I enjoyed this session so much, and
thank you so much.
yes, I would like maybe to share our ideas together in the future. Thank you very much indeed, and this is all I can say to you.
Thank you so much.
If there are any more comments?
Thank you so much.
We'll have one more minute.
I
Okay.
think these participation documents, will they send them to us via emails, or?
I think I have no idea. Actually, I don't know what to say to you.
Because it's written wrong here. It's not. He is not doctor. He is a PhD candidate. So most probably, I'm going to send an email to them.
Maybe they can write to you. You can write to them.
They are forecasting the future. That's it.
Most probably.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
And
thank you, everyone.
See you later.
Thank you so much. See you, sir. See you. See you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.